Good evening, and welcome to this special breaking news report. We are coming on air to bring you the latest developments in what is rapidly becoming a critical situation in the Middle East. Tensions that have been simmering for decades have now erupted into open conflict. In a stunning escalation that has sent shockwaves across the globe, we can now confirm that Iran has initiated a large-scale missile attack against Israel. This unprecedented act marks a significant turning point in the already volatile relationship between these two nations. And the implications are far-reaching, potentially drawing in other regional and international players. We'll be providing live updates and expert analysis throughout the night as this story unfolds. Our team is on the ground in both Israel and Iran, gathering information and providing first-hand accounts of the unfolding events. Stay with us as we delve into the details of this developing crisis. The attack, which began earlier this evening, involved a coordinated barrage of ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drone strikes launched from multiple locations within Iran. Intelligence sources suggest that the operation was meticulously planned and executed, indicating a clear intent to inflict significant damage on key Israeli infrastructure and military installations. The sheer scale of the assault is unlike anything we have witnessed in recent history, raising serious concerns about the potential for further escalation and the risk of a wider regional war. We are receiving reports of missile impacts in various parts of Israel, and the extent of the damage is still being assessed. The Iranian government has claimed responsibility for the attack, citing it as a response to recent Israeli actions in the region. However, the international community has widely condemned the attack as a blatant violation of international law and a threat to global peace and security. This direct confrontation represents a dramatic departure from the proxy conflicts and covert operations that have characterized the relationship between Iran and Israel for years. The decision by Iran to launch a direct attack on Israeli territory signals a significant shift in strategy and a willingness to take greater risks. Experts believe that this escalation is driven by a combination of factors, including Iran's growing frustration with Israel's actions in Syria and Lebanon, as well as its desire to project strength and deter further Israeli aggression. The attack also comes at a time of heightened tensions in the region, with ongoing conflicts in Yemen and Syria, and a growing rivalry between Iran and Saudi Arabia. The potential for this conflict to spill over into neighboring countries is a major concern for regional and international leaders. Just after midnight local time, the tranquility of the night was shattered as air raid sirens began to wail across major Israeli cities, including Tel Aviv, Haifa, and the Golan Heights. The piercing sound of the sirens served as a stark reminder of the imminent danger, sending residents scrambling for shelter. The streets, usually bustling with activity, quickly emptied as people sought refuge in bomb shelters and reinforced buildings. The atmosphere was thick with fear and uncertainty as families huddled together, anxiously awaiting news of the unfolding attack. The scenes unfolding in Israel are reminiscent of past conflicts, but the scale and intensity of this attack are unprecedented. The Israeli government has declared a state of emergency and has mobilized its military reserves in preparation for further attacks. Almost immediately following the initial missile launches, dozens of ballistic and cruise missiles began to rain down on Israeli territory. However, Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system, designed to intercept and destroy incoming rockets and missiles, was activated, engaging the incoming projectiles in a spectacular display of technological prowess. The night sky was illuminated by the bright flashes of interceptor missiles as they soared upwards to meet their targets. While the Iron Dome has proven to be highly effective in intercepting a significant portion of incoming missiles, some projectiles inevitably manage to evade the defense system and strike their intended targets. The effectiveness of the Iron Dome is being closely monitored, and military analysts are assessing its performance in light of the scale and sophistication of the Iranian attack. The coming hours will be critical as Israel assesses the damage and prepares for potential follow-up attacks. In the aftermath of escalating tension, Iran's Revolutionary Guard has stepped forward to confirm its responsibility for the recent retaliatory action. This announcement marks a significant turning point in the ongoing regional conflict, signaling a shift in Iran's approach to dealing with perceived threats and aggressions. The confirmation, delivered through official channels, underscores the seriousness with which Iran views the current situation and its willingness to take decisive action to protect its interests. The Revolutionary Guard, a powerful and influential arm of the Iranian military, has asserted its role as the primary defender of the nation's sovereignty and security. This move is not taken lightly, and the implications are far-reaching for the stability of the region. The statement released by the Guard explicitly states that the attack was a measured response to Israeli aggression. This carefully chosen wording suggests a calculated and deliberate action intended to send a clear message without escalating the conflict beyond a certain threshold. The reference to the recent airstrike on a military facility in Damascus is crucial, as it provides the context for Iran's actions. The Damascus strike, which resulted in the death of 2 senior Iranian advisors, is seen by Iran as a direct provocation and a violation of its sovereignty. These advisors, highly respected figures within the Iranian military establishment, were considered vital assets in the region. Their loss has fueled outrage and a demand for retribution within Iran. The Revolutionary Guard's response is therefore framed as a legitimate act of self-defense, aimed at deterring future attacks and protecting Iranian personnel.
We have exercised restraint for too long, enduring repeated provocations and aggressions against our interests and our people. This period of patience has come to an end. The time for measured diplomacy has passed, and now we must demonstrate our resolve to defend ourselves and our allies. Our commitment to peace should not be mistaken for weakness. We have consistently sought peaceful resolutions to conflicts, but our efforts have been met with continued hostility and disregard for international norms. Therefore, we are compelled to take necessary measures to protect our nation and deter future acts of aggression. This is not a warning, it is a message etched in steel and delivered with unwavering resolve. It is a declaration that any harm inflicted upon our citizens, our allies, or our interests will be met with decisive force, swift and unyielding. Let there be no doubt, we possess the capability and the will to respond to any threat, and we will not hesitate to use it. This is not a threat of aggression, but a promise of protection. We seek no conflict, but we will not shy away from defending what is rightfully ours. Our message is clear: respect our sovereignty, honor our commitments, and refrain from acts of hostility. Only then can peace prevail.
Israel has responded with immediate counterstrikes, targeting suspected IRGC positions in Syria and along the Iraq-Iran border. Prime Minister's emergency cabinet meeting lasted through the night.
We will not allow Tehran to drag the region into war, but we will defend our people with full force if necessary.
The retaliatory strikes between Iran and Israel have sent shockwaves across the globe, igniting fears of a full-blown regional war. Experts are now warning that this dangerous exchange of fire could quickly spiral out of control, drawing in a multitude of other actors and transforming the already volatile Middle East into an even more precarious landscape. The delicate balance of power in the region is teetering, and the potential consequences of further escalation are dire. We're seeing a complex web of alliances and rivalries threatening to unravel, with potentially devastating effects on international security. The world is holding its breath as it watches these events unfold, desperately hoping for a swift de-escalation before it's too late. The stakes are incredibly high, and the margin for error is shrinking with each passing hour. The international community is scrambling to find a diplomatic solution, but the path to peace remains uncertain amidst the rising tensions and escalating rhetoric. This is a critical moment that demands careful consideration and decisive action to prevent a catastrophic outcome. The United Nations has issued a strong call for immediate de-escalation, urging both Iran and Israel to exercise restraint and return to the negotiating table. Secretary General Antonio Guterres has expressed grave concern over the escalating violence, emphasizing the urgent need to avoid further bloodshed and prevent a wider conflict. The UN Security Council is holding emergency meetings to discuss the crisis and explore potential avenues for mediation. Diplomats from around the world are working tirelessly to find a peaceful resolution, but the deep-seated mistrust and animosity between the two nations pose significant challenges. The UN's efforts are further complicated by the involvement of various regional and international actors, each with their own vested interests and agendas. The international community is united in its desire to prevent a full-scale war, but achieving a lasting peace will require a concerted effort and a willingness to compromise from all parties involved. The UN's role as a mediator is crucial in this critical moment, but its effectiveness will depend on the cooperation and commitment of the nations involved. In Iran, mass protests have erupted, with large crowds taking to the streets to rally in support of the government's actions. Demonstrators are waving national flags and chanting slogans, expressing their solidarity with the leadership and their defiance against perceived external threats. The protests reflect a surge of nationalistic sentiment in the wake of the retaliatory strikes, as Iranians unite in the face of what they see as aggression from Israel. The government has been quick to capitalize on this wave of support, using the protests to bolster its legitimacy and project an image of strength and unity. However, it's important to note that not all Iranians necessarily agree with the government's policies, and there may be underlying dissent that is not immediately visible. The protests are a complex phenomenon that reflects the diverse range of opinions and perspectives within Iranian society. But on the ground, the atmosphere is thick with tension, and both nations now stand precariously at the brink of a larger, more devastating conflict. The streets are filled with a palpable sense of unease as people hurry about their daily lives under the shadow of potential war. Military checkpoints have sprung up in strategic locations, adding to the sense of heightened security and anxiety. Worried faces can be seen looking skyward, scanning the horizon for any sign of impending danger. Emergency vehicles with flashing lights race through the streets, a constant reminder of the potential for violence and destruction. The ordinary citizens of both Iran and Israel are caught in the middle of this escalating crisis, their lives and livelihoods threatened by the actions of their leaders. The fear of the unknown is pervasive as people brace themselves for what may come next. Iran has fired back, launching a barrage of missiles and drones in retaliation for the earlier strikes. Israel is now bracing itself, preparing for further attacks and mobilizing its defenses. The world watches with bated breath as the two nations teeter on the edge of a full-scale war. Damaged buildings stand silhouetted against the dawn sky, a stark reminder of the destructive power of modern weaponry. Soldiers can be seen in prayer position, seeking solace and guidance in the face of imminent danger. People huddle in bomb shelters, desperately seeking refuge from the potential devastation. Global news screens flash with updates on the escalating conflict as the world grapples with the implications of this unfolding crisis. The situation is volatile and unpredictable, and the potential for further escalation remains high. The world holds its breath, anxiously awaiting the next move in this dangerous game of brinkmanship. The stakes are incredibly high, and the consequences of miscalculation could be catastrophic. The international community is desperately seeking a way to de-escalate the situation and prevent a full-blown war. But the path to peace remains uncertain. The coming days and weeks will be critical in determining the future of the Middle East and the stability of the global order. We will continue to monitor the situation closely and provide you with the latest updates as they become available.